Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the channel if you're a new viewer, and equally welcome back to the channel if you're someone that subscribes. And yeah, thank you for your ongoing support. It probably seemed like I've gone a bit AWOL, and to a certain degree I have. We haven't uploaded a video on the channel for quite some time. As always, life just gets in the way, and I'm sure it's common with everyone. Every now and again, the uncertain happens and you kind of just get pulled every which way, and clearly family, personal priorities kick in, and you just do what you need to do. So I thought I'd just do a quick video to update you on what's going on, talk a little bit about the plans for the channel, because there very much are some good solid plans in place, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going to happen next year and what kind of upcoming content you can expect. For those of you that are perhaps new to the channel, my name's Ed. I'm father to Finn, who is 17 years old, and he has a few things on the go, a few challenges. Got global development delay, autism, very limited speech, limited mobility, and through this vlog, I guess, the purpose is really just to share our experiences as a family. Hopefully, share some of our learnings with other people that may be going through something similar, and ideally just build up a little bit of discourse, a bit of discussion, perhaps through the comments around what's happening, and just arguably just try and have a bit of a support network. I'll confess up front, this is very much from a parent's perspective. I'm not a professional. There's some things we do touch on in the channel are around some of the processes, some of the framework, some of the legalities, but I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a not in NHS or any kind of practitioner. I'm solely looking at this from a father's perspective. So yeah, in terms of what's happening, the key focuses, I think shortly after I did the last video, Finn went in to Great Ormond Street for surgery on his VNS, his vagus nerve stimulation device, which helps with his epilepsy. And yeah, it lasted 4 or 5 years, the battery, which is probably a fair innings. So he needed to go back to get it updated. It was kind of running 0 to 25%. So that needed to happen. Obviously, there was a risk that if that falls aside and he's solely dependent on medication, then things become very problematic for him. His seizures are 99% of the time they're nocturnal. So when he's asleep in bed, etc., etc. So yeah, he needed to go back. That went relatively well. It's low risk, albeit changing the battery is much the same in terms of the preparation and the surgery as getting a new device in. So that's gone well. I'm just looking down just because I've done some, in order to have a bit of a structure behind it, I've just done some notes on my phone in terms of the key topics. So that's all well and good. He came back, he recovered very, very quickly. It's quite good with Great Ormond Street, probably like maybe a lot of other hospitals. We can communicate with the team there via apps on our phone, and we could share pictures of the post surgery, the wound kind of healing, and just get some comfort that way. And we have been back once as well, just to they get a device which is plugged into an iPad, which they lay on top of the skin just above where the device sits, and that allows them to download some information around the seizures, the length, how it's going. And as a result of that, there was some tweaks that were made, which hopefully will prolong the battery, looking to turn down some of the intensity on the device when it really isn't needed. For example, during the day. So it feels like it's a forever tweak, but I think we're in a good place. We did have a couple of weeks after when we came back where he was still having, he was having a bit of a run of bad seizures, and then if you feel a bit tired, you get a bit cynical, and it's is the device bloody working? Is there issues with this or that? But I think it was just a bit of a blip. It didn't feel like he was unwell. Sometimes he gets a temperature or a cold, then that can increase the likelihood of seizures. But yeah, it didn't feel like he was particularly unwell. But touch wood, that's moved on, and we're now we're now in a good place. So the key focus really has been this kind of preparation for adulthood. So he turns 18 next year, and we're I guess about to embark on a bit of an unknown journey into adulthood, and someone with disabilities, a new set of processes, moving out of the school that he's currently at and looking at alternate solutions. So we've been looking at some, I don't really know what you call them, almost like adult day centres, all very, very different in terms of the setup, the scale, the volume, the the knowledge of the team, the kind of the warmthness or the clinicalness that you kind of get, depending on the centre that you visit. So I think we've been to about 4 so far, 4 or 5. We've got another 2 to see, and we're striking to get a bit of a balance. So on his EHCP, in order to maintain the EHCP post school, there needs to be like an academic element. So when he comes out of his current secondary school, wherever he goes, ideally we want him to be able to kind of tick that academic box. We still think, my wife and I still think there's potential. I mean, people say, when children are children, even early adults, the brain is a bit of a sponge. There's still potential opportunity to learn. So I think we'd be foolish not to kind of be knocking on that door. But that said, based on some of the conditions that he has, it won't look like it's certainly not like a college situation, and the nature of the what he's being taught will be very very basic, arguably, and still focus on life skills as well. But we hope some literacy and some mathematics, etc., etc. So a bit of that, and then think combining that setting at the academy with a day centre, which will be more around the the life skills, socialising, which he finds he does find really, really tough to get that complement. So there's that, but then there's challenges in there around process funding. There's not no obligations on these settings to accept Finn, and without getting too political, and I'll do a separate video around the budget. There's a lot of, seems to be a bit of a stance in terms of educational settings for those with special needs to have a real focus, or dare I say a priority, around employability, and being transparent with myself, and knowing Finn obviously very, very well. He won't be able to undertake a normal job, so to speak, which is obviously it's very it's just very, very sad. But we still don't think that should be a reason for him to be excluded from an educational setting where like I say, even literacy, maths will just help his general quality of life going forward. So we'll keep pushing on that. We will do videos, I think, a bit more around getting into more detail around how we've got on with the visits, what we've seen, what we'd recommend in terms of other people going through the process, perhaps questions to ask, what we're understanding in terms of the process, the funding piece, which feels like a bit of a business case, logistics, how to get there, because these places aren't, both my wife and I, we work full time. I say 9 till 5, it's probably more 8 to 6. So these settings quite often are like 10 till 3. So it's a similar, particularly at the end of the day, kind of conundrum as we face at the moment with school. So yeah, trying to get logistics and PAs, etc., is a bit of a challenge. And we've had some good discussions with, there's a team in our local authority in Southend which is around the transition. So there some couple of really good individuals we've met. So we'll keep you informed on that one. Also looking at the deputyship applications. So we're literally just about to hit send on the financial deputyship application, which will help us basically continue to monitor his financial affairs going forward, which is a bit of a minefield. Nothing's a given as well with these court applications. So we've got fairly good legal advice that are helping, facilitate get this through. But it's pretty arduous and expensive process. So again, it probably warrants a separate video. But it's in preparation for him being 18. Well, if we touch wood, we get the deputyship granted, we can then open a bank account in his name, because he wouldn't credibly be able to give consent. He wouldn't understand what the terms and conditions are in order to have his own account. He doesn't really have the understanding of what money is, apart from notes and perhaps grabbing my card at the end of a supermarket run to tap it in. But he doesn't really know that kind of salary builds up the credit in the account, and there's bills to pay and all the rest of it. That's just it's just beyond him, to be honest. So that's our case for getting the this deputyship in place, and preparing, a bit gloomy, but for when we're not around as well. So him just having a bit of an auditable bank account that's set up, and linked to that as well. I mean, the other piece is around the bank accounts themselves. I thought I'd do some Googling, even a bit of AI chat GBT to see, okay, what's involved here. And I'm thinking it'd be a good idea to set up a bank account now, even though he's not 18, almost just a youngster, a young adult, a young person account, maybe wishful thinking, in the hope that when he turns 18, it will be easier to move it over to an adult account through the bank. Because of, dare I say, a lot of fraud, the processes and the requirements to set up a bank account, even at age 17, is not straightforward, in terms of, like the ID, being able to have a discussion with someone. Oh, you pop into the branch. So he wouldn't be able to have a competent discussion with anyone on the branch, on the phone or whatever, around himself setting up a bank account. And then there's ID stipulations as well. So we don't really travel outside of the UK. He finds it, we haven't done it for years, to be honest, but he's found it difficult. And even in short distance travel situations, it's not always great. So I mean, on a plane, in that preparation, in an airport, I think he'd find it very, very difficult. But yeah, passport is a key form of ID when opening a bank account up, when you haven't had a bank account before. He's had a card which is more kind of in my name, but then he is like a beneficiary of it. So really, the terms and conditions for that account was me. So that's separate to this. So we then thought, okay, perhaps it's not a bad thing to get a passport in place, because I think there'll be other times where we need something, and he's not going to be able to drive, so he can't do a driving license. I think you could do a provisional driving license, but it's like, what's the point? It just feels like it's wasting money, wasting time. So, and this process is such an eye-opener, because I've got to go through the application for the passport on his behalf, but there's all sorts of stuff in there, when it comes to signing and giving consent. These processes aren't set up for this type of arrangement. They're not set up for people with special needs. Even the photos, anyone that's applied, got a passport, you'll know the photo requirements and the constraints, and just the pushback if you don't get it exactly right. You're not allowed to smile. You've got to look straight at the camera. It's got to be a certain part of your torso. And I think I thought, should we take him to a professional place? I think it would have put him at unease. So I did some, took a photo here. I think we got there in the end. It took a good couple of hours, because he doesn't understand. Normally, the camera comes out, whatever, but default is to smile. So it's like, you can't, and it just confuses him. And then, look directly at the lens. So I was holding my camera up, and he was getting close, and then he was getting frustrated. So little things are just, very difficult. And that's not even the process. So that warrants a video. So we'll do one around the passport. And once we've got the passport locked in, and I did have a message this morning to say they've received it, we'll do one around, bank applications, opening a bank account as well. So yeah, we'll do that. So yeah, going forward, I've already rattled off a few things that we're going to cover. We'll do some more videos around the deputyship applications. We'll do some videos around, passports, bank accounts, searching for appropriate, settings when, child, the person you're caring for, turns 18, the process for funding. And then the other piece, very different in my mind, is we'll do, to be specific to us, because every family is completely different, we'll do like a day in the life as well, just showing, on a typical day from morning to evening how things, things pan out, to try and get some videos in there as well to just to make it a bit different. So looking forward to working on that one. And that's it really. I think the next video you can expect will be, impact of the budget on the, on folk with disabilities, with special needs. So I'll try, without getting too emotive, I'll try and keep it as factual as possible, but look out for that one. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, please support, please, like, comment, etc. It just really helps grow the channel. There's genuinely no monetary gain or, opportunity here. It's a very niche thing which we're doing. It's genuinely just around, sharing our experiences, our learnings, and hopefully building out a community of like-minded individuals, perhaps going through similar challenges as ourselves. So I love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.